which is that Powell started tightening last year when he raised the reverse repo rate, payout rate by 5 basis points, gutting the euro, changing, overnight, the market's changed. Like all of a sudden, that was it. We're now in a euro bear market, and the standing balance on the reverse repo facility at the U.S. Fed started rising rapidly. Had been rising before that, was up to 450 billion, but by the end of the summer we were 1.7 trillion. Today we're like 2.1 trillion. But how about this one for you? The better scenario is to think about, once the Fed started doing that, what was the political reaction on Capitol Hill, right? Well, the political reaction on Capitol Hill was, oh my God, you're going to kill our big agenda, which is to destroy the U.S. dollar and destroy America because we have all these spending plans and we want to push through, umpteen $1 trillion worth of spending, which, oh, by the way, you, Jerome Powell and Federal Reserve, are going to have to monetize because no one else wants this garbage. So now what, right? So when you put it like that, you have to ask yourself, Powell, who hasn't been reconfirmed as Fed chair, right, is in a very tenuous political position. So he talks out of both sides of his mouth about inflation, knowing full well that real inflation is coming down the pike by the end of the year. He just has to stall the political process as much as possible. Now, he can only do so much. The bigger question is anybody else his ally? And this has been my thesis for a while now, because the argument you have to have then is, well, okay, what other allies do you have to have in order to pull this off? Well, the other allies you have to have are the people who are the shareholders and the most powerful of the 12 regional central banks or member banks of the Fed, the New York Fed. And those are the guys who were standing behind Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, who said no to Build Back Better, who said no to the full-blown infrastructure bill, and said no to raising the debt ceiling, and basically told Nancy Pelosi, no, you're not getting any of this. And we're gonna just run the clock out on you until inflation starts to happen and the argument for all of the spending evaporates. Because, hey, the economy is improving, like unemployment's 4% and inflation is rising, and all the classic Keynesian arguments of we have demand pull inflation is happening now because we're coming out of COVID. Omicron comes out. It's not really all that deadly. I had it a couple of weeks ago. It was annoying and it sapped my energy for 2 weeks. But, other than that, I'm back to, the prickly self that I was 2 weeks ago. Everything's good again. So now the question is, when you're looking at that, now you're just trying to figure out how does Powell navigate the waters in Washington, D.C. in order to get to a confirmation date? And what allies what changed politically to allow for the Fed to retain its independence from the Treasury Department and Congress, and for Powell to survive? And all of those things fell into place. They tried an insider trading scandal against the Fed. Didn't work. They got 3 Fed governors, Kaplan, Kurita, and Rosengren, but they didn't get Powell. They tried to get Powell. They didn't get him. What happens? Then they had to go through 3 Senate confirmation hearings to replace those people before they can reconfirm Powell. Eventually, so they put up, Sarah Bloom Raskin and all these freaking commies, and it's horrible. But once that's all done, Powell's got to get reconfirmed because he's got the votes in the Senate. And once that happens, he's now free to do whatever he wants. And that's why I said at the beginning of this, when he went to the meeting with Biden, when he was summoned to the White House, like, yeah, all right. So Fungal Joe and his junta of the Biden administration are going to summon the Federal Reserve Chair, who now has, basically bomb-proof armor for the next 4 years to do whatever the hell he wants. That conversation was really short. Dude, we're raising 50 basis points. You get in my way and I'll raise 75. You look at me cross-eyed and I'll go 100. It's that simple. Like, this is what we're doing, because you people are traitors and you don't work for the United States. You work for Europe. And we're going to break Europe because Europe wants to destroy the commercial banking sector here in the United States. And that's the story. And it's not much more complicated than that.